we are going to talk about, funnily enough, the management speaking, because a couple of days ago I said I'm going to make a video about how absent, basically, the man. Am I live? People in the chat, let me know if I'm live. Am I live? You're live? I'm live, but with some delay for some reason. So again, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna talk about the management finally speaking enough. And I was saying that, funnily enough, a couple of days ago, I think it was on Monday, I said I'm gonna make a video on how absent the management has been, especially this season, because last season we didn't really had a management. They moved, and or like they got sacked. Basically everybody came in, it was all weird. But this season you never hear of Ferrero, you never hear of Scanavino at all. And it's needed that these guys speak, even though we all know they have no pedigree in the world of football, at all. At least speak up in this difficult time, in this last, what was it, month and a half, where it's gone all south. At least speak up, excuse me, and talk and take responsibility and all those things. And we never heard of Scanavino or Ferrero at all. And you only hear from Allegri post game, and it's always the same thing without taking any of the real blame. But today, Scanavino spoke, and actually, I wish he did not speak. I wish he did not speak, because what he had to say, first he went on talking about the club growing on social media, TikTok, and all those things, whatever. I didn't really read much into it. He talked about the World Cup, which is gonna be good, because it will give a social media a boost. And I'm like, fine, I don't really care about that as a football fan, and especially right now at this moment in time, the situation we're in. I don't want to hear anything about TikTok followers. It's just as simple as me. Like, the app stinks already. So I don't want to hear anything about we gained. I don't know. I didn't really read the article too much. I saw TikTok and gained 50 million subscribers, or like, what is it, followers? I don't know. And I was like, yeah, that's not what anyone really wants to hear at this moment in time. But he did speak on Allegri. He did speak on Allegri, and basically the entire period, or everything basically, and a little bit on the future. So he had a few things to say on him. But like I said, I wish he did not speak at this moment in time, because the title of the show is "We Are Unlucky," and apparently we have been unlucky. I've missed that. Like, I missed the part where we have been unlucky the last period of time, but maybe that's just me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for joining. Hey, on Olifant, good evening. Like the video, smash the like button now. But what he did have to say, Scanavino, is what's on the screen now. And I will read it out really quickly, because I know a lot of people also do listen to the stream and not really watch to it. He said there's great confidence in the team and the coach, and we're all working together to find the key to restart as soon as possible and achieve the goals of the current season, qualifying for Champions League and reaching the Coppa Italia final. Reaching, not winning, reaching the final. On the field, sometimes we haven't been as brilliant, but other times the performances have been very positive, and we haven't been able to get what we deserved. And then he also, like, in a different word, say we're a bit unlucky in some certain moments in time, basically. Let's start off with that last part, where he said we didn't deserve what we basically should have gotten, being unlucky. I'll repeat what I said many times. When Allegri says we play Udinese, or we play Sassuolo, or we play at Empoli and Cagliari and whatever, and he says, man, that team that does not deserve the position they're in the league. If it's match day 29, you deserve where you are. There's no luck. There's not unlucky. Oh, I've been unlucky in that game. 29 games in the season. I don't want to hear anything about unlucky. Actually, we've been very lucky in certain games. I cannot recall a game where I'll sit back, and when I talk about moments, it needs to be games, because we are talking about a difference here. We're not talking, because if he's talking about one or two games, then It's crazy. Like, it's still average. Like, the season is still average. I cannot recall games where I came out of that game and I was like, man, we've been so unlucky. The only game I can recall was the Verona game, but we won it in the end still. That was a game towards the end I was like, man, we've been unlucky. Other than that, we haven't been unlucky. Against Napoli, we haven't been unlucky. We've been terrible in front of goal. That's not luck. That's been just been poor. Like that's poor on Vlahovic's part. On Cambiasso, on Rugani, like whatever, in front of goal. That's not luck. Like, it's not the goalie was making ridiculous saves. We were putting those balls wide. That's not luck. That's just us. Like I said, the Verona game at home, if we didn't win that game at the end of the day, I was like, that was unlucky. You dominated that game. Goals called out for no good reason. The ball hitting the post on the line. That would have been unlucky. But would it have really mattered? It's one game in 29. What is it? 29 games. It's one of the 29 games. That's not really unlucky. Like, you're really nitpicking here. Like, you're really talking about things that are really not relevant to this situation. Because if you want to speak, we won one game out of 8. That's something I don't want to hear. I don't expect him to come out and say Allegri's doing a terrible job. He needs to fix this, Allegri, with those kind of words. But I do expect him to come on and say the last couple of weeks, whatever, have been not good enough, below expectations, and we need to adjust that. The team, the coach, the players, whatever, all of us, we need to adjustment because we cannot afford this run of games, basically. We need to do better. We need to be better. That's what I want to hear at this moment in time. I don't want to hear we've been brilliant at times, or what did he say? Yeah, we've been brilliant at times. I can also not recall the moments this season where we have been brilliant. That's a word. Like, Inter have been brilliant at times. Excuse me. We have not been brilliant at times. We've been solid at best in moments of times, and we picked up. Like, I don't know. Maybe he thinks about. I don't know what he means about brilliant. If he means with brilliant picking up points, then yes, we've been brilliant up to the Empoli game, basically picking up points. If you want to watch it like that. However, we've not been unlucky. That's what I want to say. We have not been unlucky at all. Actually, in a lot of games, we've been lucky. We've been bailed out by Vlahovic in games where, like, we didn't deserve to win that game, but Vlahovic bailed us out, Sanitana, Frosinone, like, he bailed us out a couple of times where we were like, ugh, phew, thank God, we got away with it, keep it moving, Monza, and we go again. That was kind of the mindset, but there's no unlucky. 29 games into the season, where we are now, we deserve where we are. Like, that also needs to be stated. We deserve where we are. So no luck whatsoever, or unlucky, whatever. Because if we were winning games, he wouldn't have been talking about that. Now, the first part, I didn't have a problem with it until that final line. He said, the goals of the season, qualifying for Champions League, whatever, if that's the goal, like, that's the bare minimum. If you want to include that as a goal, fine, okay. But the last wording, and he did say so, because actually I went back to final part. I didn't listen to the first part because I was not going to do that. The last part, he actually said the goal was reach the Coppa Italia final. And you in the comments can say, oh, it's a technicality, you're being very harsh now. He said reach the Coppa Italia final. The goal, and you can call in, by the way, the goal was not, like, he needed to say the goal was winning the Coppa Italia, not reaching the Coppa Italia, because reaching the Coppa Italia means squat. It means nothing. If we reach the Coppa Italia and we don't win it, who cares? Actually, we will care about the fact that we bottle a final again. That's what will stake. Like, you cannot go into the season and say, we need to reach the Coppa Italia final. I'm like, you need to win it. Like, we need to win the Coppa Italia final, because if that means if at the end of the season we scrape top 4, literally scrape top 4, and we lose in the final, you're telling me that's a successful season because the goal was reaching top four and reaching a semifinal, reaching the final. Doesn't matter how you got in top four. Doesn't matter what happened in that final. Like that mindset is sad. Like it's just really, really sad. And that's what I said. Like he spoke, and actually, I wish he didn't speak. I wish he didn't spoke because actually it made it worse. He made it worse. 1 game in 8, and there was nothing about that. There was nothing about this moment in time, the last month and a half, saying this is not okay, this is not acceptable, this is not going according to plan. It's like, oh, we're still on path to reach top four. Are we? At this pace, we literally are not on pace to reach top four. Actually, on this pace, considering at the pace of the other teams, we are on pace of being kicked out of a Champions League spot. Literally, a fact. They are sitting too comfortable on the 9 point lead. Excuse me. The game. I don't think even he knows which games are coming up. Basically, because otherwise you wouldn't say these things. In my opinion, you wouldn't say certain things. 1 win out of 8, and actually he said a lot of things, but without addressing the moment right now. Then he also talked about Allegri, saying, he's doing a good job and whatever. Like, he's not doing a good job. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, this is not a good job. You cannot sell this as a good job to anyone. Like, literally nobody can claim this is doing a good job. Because if that's, like, I would call this doing a good job if he was doing this with Fiorentina or Atalanta and he was in this position, I would say that's a good job. It's not a good job. It's not. Let me bring up a few comments. I remember after Salernitana game, Coppa Italia, Allegri said the goal was to win the Coppa Italia. He also said the goal was compete for the Scudetto last season. And now he said we're never going to compete. It was never close. And I was like, I literally heard you say it. In 2002, last season post Napoli, I heard you say we should be competing for the Scudetto. And now he's like, we never made a shot. We never had a chance. And I'm like, but you told me, not me, not you, not a random guy on Twitter. You said we should be competing this season based on the experience you gained last season. And then he turns around and he said, man, Inter are too far away. I'm like, but okay, fine, but you said we should be competing and you're not. Standard managerial, bullshit. Maybe we haven't been lucky in some games, but in some, oh boy, we were lucky. We were. Like in some games, we were extremely, like in certain games, how many times did we came out of a game and we're like, how did we win that? We stole that game and we're like, we take it and you run with it, basically. We said it so many times on this channel. Like, you take the win, you'll take the win and you just run with it. But we didn't really deserve it, but whatever, We said it so many times, and he comes on and said, we've been unlucky. We haven't been unlucky. Like, the moment we are in now, we deserve to be in this moment right now. Like, we deserve to be 1 win out of 8 because we haven't done better to not be in that position. In this position. Even the Napoli game. If Miret was making save after save, I was like, God damn. What a day. Unlucky. Did it make the saves? We put it out. Wow. That's not lucky. That's just poor finishing from the players on the day. That's what it is. It's not luck. It's not luck. It's like literally the game. It's the game. But whatever. Obviously, if we scrape top 4 and we lose in the Coppa Italia final, if we reach the Coppa Italia final, obviously, it's not a good job. Like, it's not a good season, whatever. Like, the mindset of the club, no matter if you're good enough, the mindset should always be we compete and we go for the Coppa Italia win. No matter what the team is, that should be the mindset. However, the mindset at the club is completely off. It's not even close to that. And that's with certain things, being said by Scanavino, Allegri post game, all these things, the mindset is not there. How many times were we on pace with Inter and the players came out and said, we believe, and Allegri came out saying Inter are still better than us. And everybody was like, he's downplaying it. And I was like, it's too much. Like, he's doing too much. Accept, embrace the position you're in, because you and the players got us here, and we praised that at the time. And we said, whatever, how, it's ugly, but you're here in that position. Embrace it and own up to it. Because what you said at the start of the season, scraping or just top 4 goal, it changes mid-season. And not even mentioning that you said we should be in this situation 5-6 months ago at that time. Now it's almost a year ago, the Napoli game. You said it, not we. So just own up to what you said and keep it moving. Because nobody is going to sit here and we lose the Coppa Italia final to... Who is it? If we reach the final potentially, is it Fiorentina and Atalanta on the other side? I think it is Fiorentina and Atalanta on the other side. Let's say we play the final against Atalanta and we lose, but we finished 4. Which sane person is gonna sit there and be like, "Good season"? Like nobody's gonna do that. Like, context matters. If you lose the final against Inter, they are the better side. You're like, okay. But context matter. If you reach the final, you play against Atalanta or Fiorentina, there's no way you're allowed to lose that final at all. There's absolutely no way. You need to absolutely win that final. There's no ifs and buts. You absolutely need to win that final. Because even in bad moments, if you're that team, if you have that aura, if you're that guy as a coach, you somehow find a way to win the final if you're in it. So you cannot go out into a Coppa Italia final and be like, and you lose it and be like, whatever. Like, the goal was reach a final. We did it, so we move on. No, you cannot do that. But that's what Scanavino had to say. What I also want to talk about really quickly is, hey Norbert, he talked about Yildiz, and I made a video about that for tomorrow, but I'm gonna really, really quickly want to touch on that, because even Yildiz, like the narrative around Yildiz has changed now. Everything that's being told about Yildiz right now is just people believing or being brainwashed whatever they've been feeding. The media have been feeding them. Because apparently, somehow, some way, Allegri did it. Hey, Peter. Allegri did an interview with The Athletic. And he said, and I was reading the interview and I was like, I was kind of surprised. It came out of nowhere. He said, all young players have difficult moments. Miretti, Fagioli, they overcame them difficult moments. So will Yildiz. And I was like, what happened? Like, what did I miss? And maybe somebody in the chat knows. And do like the video. Thanks for watching. What difficult moment happened with Yildiz? Did I miss something? Like, did I miss something where we were like, because keep in mind, not a single person or in the media, whatever, up to that Empoli game said anything about maybe we should be benching Yildiz because he's not playing well. Nobody said it. Absolutely nobody said that at all. However, when that Empoli game happened, and post-game, he was asked about Yildiz, and he got so tired of it, because first he did an interview with, I think, Sky, then DAZN, and afterwards in the presser. In the presser, he got so tired about that question. He said, you know what, Yildiz wasn't that good at Verona, so it's like I needed to take some pressure off of him. And that was an absolute lie, because he was not poor against Verona. And how he's talking about he needs to overcome a difficult moment. The only difficult moment Yildiz has is the one you created by benching him now. That's the only difficult moment he has right now. Because other than that, he was playing well. What actually pisses me off even more is that people are brainwashed into believing and actually agreeing now, oh, but Yildiz wasn't doing that great at all. He only had 1 goal and 1 assist or whatever. It wasn't even about the goals and the assists. Nobody mentioned that, but people want to flip that immediately to stats. If you want to do that, Chiesa has been poor, even worse, and he's still playing. Whatever. I don't want to talk about Chiesa right now. However, they talk about stats, but what Yildiz was doing was so much more than a goal or an assist. What he was asked to do, just I don't want to say look up because it's not been that long, but just recall your memory and go back at how Yildiz was playing and what he was doing for the team, where he was picking up the ball, what he was doing in certain moments, pace-wise, holding up the ball, beating his man, all those things. Keep that in mind, not the assists and the goals, because those were just extra. I've said so many times when I came on, I said, play him. He's a kid. He will make mistakes, excuse me, but just keep playing him. Only then he will improve. He's not going to improve by sitting on the bench, coming in for 5 minutes against Napoli, a couple of minutes here, and and whatever. There was no issue, there was no difficult moment up to that Empoli game. And now apparently there is a difficult moment. And I'm like, what difficult moment happened with Yildiz? What did I miss with Yildiz? What did I miss with Yildiz? Because I cannot recall a difficult moment. But it's gone so far that actually the media and everybody, and people online as well, are being brainwashed into saying now, oh, but he wasn't good. And saying like you were expecting crazy things from him. Nobody was expecting anything. I never brought up goals and assists. My expectations were not even that for Yildiz at this moment in time. But people want to revisit history and rewrite history for some weird reason. Like no reason at all. Because Yildiz was doing perfectly fine until he got benched. The difficult moment he created. That's all. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, basically. And I have no idea why and what happened with that, And you can say he loves Yildiz and whatsoever. Fine, he loves Miretti. He loves Dybala. He loves Locatelli. He loves Rabiot. He loves Kostic. I'm not really sure what that even means, to be honest. He made a decision, and I'm still baffled by that decision. I'm still very confused about that decision. And nobody was expecting miracles from Yildiz, but everybody acknowledged it looks better with Yildiz, and it did look better. Vlahovic looked better. The team just looked better. But here we are, and saying, oh, but he's a young kid, You don't need to put so much pressure on him. It's good to be on the bench. Like, he plays so freely. There was no pressure on him. What pressure? Nobody was saying, oh, he needs to score week in, week out. Nobody was saying, oh, he needs to take the team on his back. Actually, literally everybody was saying he's going to make mistakes, but whatever. We came on and he said, not the best of games, However, still a lot of positives. He's going to learn from that. But somehow, he has a problem. A difficult moment. And I'm like, I missed it. Didn't see the difficult moment, but maybe that's just me. Peter is saying difficult moment. I don't think he had one low. I'm still confused. I'm like, I cannot recall the difficult moments. Allegro gives Yildiz 5 minutes at the end of the game and expects him to make an instant impact. I don't even think he expects him to make an instant impact. However, a lot of fans do. Remember when Junior came on in garbage time minutes or 10 minutes and people were like, oh, that's why Junior is not playing. All that load of absolute rubbish. 10 minutes after being benched for like 20 games and talking about, oh, he has no impact. What the hell do you expect? But now Yildiz is starting, or Junior has been starting, or coming off the bench, but he has been playing more, and he actually has an impact, and he looks better. What playing time, regular playing time can do with a player who's actually good enough. Shocking. The concept, unbelievable. Feels like it's been just invented. But people love to absolutely talk rubbish about certain things. He loves Alexandro. He does. Probably will adopt him after his contract runs out. What pisses me off is he can have Chiesa, Vlahovic, and Yildiz as a trident, and he doesn't utilize it. That's a topic I'm not sure I want to tackle, if I'm being completely honest, because it's going to open a bee's nest, basically, if that's a saying in English. I know it's a saying in Dutch, but I'm not sure if it's a saying in English. It's going to open a can of worms. I'll probably say that. However, if you bring up that topic, it's we don't have a left back, we cannot move formation, we cannot do this, we cannot do that. So it's a never-ending debate, He got absolutely pissed about that post-game, called out a journalist, whatever. I see the players on training, blah blah blah. You saw Kostic on training, play them 20 games straight, 20 games of rubbish. So I'm not sure what that even means. I see a player on training, because we can see them on the pitch, you know. So whatever happens in training, whatever I see on the pitch, Kostic has been rubbish. I don't care what he does in training. Like, he can be a will beater in training, on match day, rubbish all season long. So whatever. What do you think? What do you Who do you think is going to start up top for the Lazio game? Because Vlahovic and Milik, it's gonna be Chiesa and Keane. It's gonna be Chiesa and Keane. 100% sure, actually. I've watched all videos made on Thiago Motta coaching. I'm thinking, can our players pull it off? Seems like tactics are kind of weird. Well, we need new players. We know that, and players will be signed and moved on. Even if Allegri stays, players are gonna be signed and moved on, no matter what. But if you bring in a guy like Motta, like you build a team for him in terms of he has specific needs and demands, and you need to help to give, or like help him basically fulfill the demands he have, because otherwise it's not gonna work. And that goes for Allegri as well. If he stays, certain players need to be shipped out. Players me and you like, and players who me and you do not like are probably gonna stay. And we're gonna sign type of players me and you don't like or like, but you do that based on the coach. That's why we brought in Giuntoli. So no matter who's gonna be the coach, you need to build around him as like 100%. But on Motta, we will talk about his style and whatever if we actually need to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm making videos on Motta tactics, but Allegri's gonna get an extension. I'm like, a waste of time, an absolute waste of time. Motta plays extremely transitional. I don't think stagnant bumps like Locatelli can play under him. Well, a lot of players, like, we need obviously changes, but that's always with a coach. But yeah, that's that one. If nobody's calling, is gonna call in, gonna wrap this one up because it's been very late. I recorded 3 videos. I recorded a podcast with Anthony from Inter, so stay tuned for that. That's going to drop on Sunday, I think. Pretty sure Sunday. So stay tuned for that one. I did record a couple of videos for tomorrow and Friday. I will be live on Friday as well, and probably on Sunday also. We need to qualify for Champions League and win the Coppa Italia. Well, yeah, obviously, but it's not looking good for Champions League. I think Motta can't stand the pressure, which is at Juve. I think we need a Conte-like kind of coach. Personally, I prefer Pirlo than Motta. Okay, really quickly on that one. And it's not to call you out, but what suggests that Motta cannot endure the pressure? Can somebody tell me that? Because we signed Conte on the back of coaching Siena. Keep in mind, Motta plays for Inter. He played for PSG. He knows what pressure is. But we gave Conte a shot when he was coaching Siena. Real Madrid gave Zidane a coach when he was coaching a chance when he was coaching the under-23s. Barcelona gave Pep a chance. Mourinho was a translator. Villas-Boas was a fan sending mails to the club. And yes, he failed long-term, Villas-Boas, but like, we're talking about giving a chance. Like, there's like, Motta can come in, be an immense success, or it can be an absolute failure. But we took a shot with Conte in the past, and it worked. We were in a difficult spot. Nobody had any expectations. Kind of like now, only even worse, to be honest. We did a good job squad building, but we brought in Conte from Siena. So there's no real proof, and again, it's not to call you out, but like, what makes you think that Motta cannot handle the pressure? Because I've not seen him at another club and flop. Gasperini, big club, flop, Atalanta, less pressure, works out. Like, we haven't seen it, and you can be right. Like, he cannot handle the pressure and completely flop. I also did not say I want Thiago Motta. I like the idea of Thiago Motta, but like I said, when Allegri is out, I want to see what the options are before I'm like, okay, we need this. I need to hear about players which we potentially might move on and whatever. I need to hear all those things before we can actually or I personally can say, yeah, okay, I'm good with Mota, or I'm good with like whatever. Throw out the name basically. We have nothing to lose with changing manager at this point. How much worse can it possibly get? Uh, Football wise, probably not really. Not making top four is probably worse. That's about it. I'm ready to give freaking Di Francesco a chance if he were to come at Juve. As long as not Allegri, I'll be happy. I see that, but I will actually cry if we sign Di Francesco. Like I prefer to remain coachless at that point. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Juntili already has an agreement with someone who we never expected. Could be right. You could be right, but he doesn't strike me like that guy. He strikes me like a guy who wants to have things very clear and already preset, and it makes a lot of sense that it's gonna be Thiago Motta for so many reasons. For so many reasons, you know, he plays a quote unquote modern style of football. In my opinion, it's not outlandish. It's not like the Zerbi. It's all over the place. It's more controlled. It's very specific, like somebody said. You know, players need to do specific things. You know, it's not like Allegri says, oh, pass the midfield, basically, it's whatever, quality. It's not really like that, you know. However, he can develop players. He's young. He has an idea. He has a mindset. And I think the club will probably go with that, to be honest. I mean, after signing Alcaraz, we never know. Yeah, that one I still won't get. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But keep in mind, we don't have a lot of money, so we needed to do some weird things, in my opinion. And he might need to do weird things in the summer as well. We need experience, but we don't have the money to get that experience, unless you want to sign Bonaventura. But in the past, we had money to sign a free agent like Khedira, who was very good when he came in. You know, we had that pool, or like that money especially, and we were a winning team, so it was much easier to bring in those type of players. Now it's not, so it's a very difficult job for Giuntoli. But hey, you get paid to get us out of it, so do it. But again, I'm gonna wrap this one up. If you haven't liked the video, like the video now. Subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 5K as well. So thanks for that. I will be back live on Friday and probably on Sunday. And on Sunday also podcast with Anthony from the Inter Y channel, which has been a while. We haven't spoken just a couple of days before the Inter game. So a lot of things happen for them. A lot of things happen for us. So that's what we kind of talked about. So stay tuned for that one on Sunday. And that's it for me. I'm out again, people. Thanks for watching. Have a good day / evening or morning for some of you. And I'll see you guys back in a couple of days.